Success is a journey. In actual fact, it is a race that you and I are called to engage in. After all, we read from Habakkuk 2. It says, write the vision, make it plain upon the tablets that he may run who reads it. Where is he running to? Running to achieve the goal, running to achieve the vision, running to achieve success. Success is a race that you and I are on, hopefully, running so that we can achieve. However, as we run, there are things that we must do to ensure that we're on course, that we're on track, all right, to reaching our goal, to achieving the success that we so badly desire or crave. And the question is, as we run, are we mindful to ensure that we are still on course, that we are staying the course, that we're staying on our lane? Or could it be that we have derailed without even knowing? Could it be that we have since derailed and we're actually headed for failure, contrary to what we desire? Could it be that we have set up ourselves for a rude shock, all right, only to be like that man who is laboring hard, yet he's not getting to where he's going? He doesn't even know where he's going. And so today I want to focus on the topic, examine yourself. Examine yourself. The imperative for you and I to examine ourselves to be sure that we are on course, to be sure that we're still in the race, to be sure that we have not derailed, that we are not actually fooling ourselves, thinking that success is still ahead, whereas what lies ahead is failure. Examine yourself. I should examine myself, as I often try to do from time to time. And I want to say to you, this is one counsel, perhaps the best counsel that you can receive from a leader, perhaps the best counsel, to ask you to examine yourself, to ask you to reconsider how you're running your race, to call your attention to the responsibility that you have, all right, in that quest, to let you know that whether you succeed or you fail is really up to you, is really about you, and it's not going to be because of whatever anybody else does. Now, let me remind us about what this channel stands for. It's licensed to succeed, and our focus is very clear. We are all about knowing, promoting what God's idea of success is and God's way to achieving it. What God's idea of success is and God's way of achieving it. And therefore, we have the Bible as our reference. Okay, so everything you hear here, please understand the context, put it in proper context. Against that background, I'd like to call your attention, therefore, to where this very important counsel comes from, which, by the way, I believe, all right, because it's the word of God, and because it was given by no other person than a man that anyone should listen to. His name is Paul. In 2 Corinthians 13 and verse 5, that's where, you get that counsel. And Paul was writing, and he said to the people, and I'll read, Examine yourself to see if your faith is genuine. The New Living Translation. Test yourselves. Surely you know that Jesus Christ is among you. If not, you have failed the test of genuine faith. That's a loaded statement. And that's where I want us to take the vital input, the vital insight, all right, for pursuing success and realizing it from. What he's saying in essence here is this. This is a command, by the way. I mean, it's a counsel, by the way, it's not a command. All right. So you can take it if you like, or ignore it if it doesn't sit well with you. But rest assured that heaven and earth will pass away, not a jot of his word will go unfulfilled. So if I were you, I would take it. It said, with counsel, make your war. All right. Purposes are established by counsel. Okay. In the midst of many counsels, there is safety. So counsel is important. And if I were you, I will heed this particular counsel. All right. I don't want to end up at a destination that I don't desire. I don't want to end up, especially with failure. I want to end up with the success I desire at every stage, at every point in my journey. And in order for me to do that, I must be sure that I am on the right track, that I am on course. I must not run as one who is blind. I must run with my eyes open, run to ensure that I am doing what I should be doing at every point in time, because that's the guarantee that I'm going to realize my goals, the results that I desire. And it's telling us that if you are serious about your race, if you are smart about your pursuit, examine yourself. This is not something that you do now alone. This is something you must cultivate the habit of doing. From time to time, periodically, examine yourself. Why? To be sure that you are still in the race, to be sure that you are still on course. Now, this counsel tells us what you and I know, that it is possible that we're running a race and we have since derailed without knowing. And that can be especially true if we don't know the route as much as we should, all right, to where we are going. And it's true that even if you knew the principles and you're following principles about how to succeed in a particular area, if it's not something that you have done before, if you haven't succeeded in it before, then there's a chance that you can miss your way. So the fact that you know principles is not a guarantee that you won't miss your way, that you won't miss it along the line. How many of us have tried, going to a particular place, maybe on a visit, maybe for an interview, maybe to achieve one objective or the other, and we took directions. In fact, we even use Google Maps, which has a tendency, even at times, to take you to where you didn't intend to go. All right? And that can happen for a number of reasons. So there is always a possibility that we miss our way. You don't want to discover, all right? You want to discover early enough that you missed your way, if indeed you have. Because the later you discover, all right, the more frustrating it will be. The more frustrating will be. Something that you ought to achieve in 12 months. You don't want 12 months to come and you discover that you since missed your way 10 months ago. It says, examine yourself. If you are smart in your pursuit, you will take this counsel. it even went further. It said, test yourself. And I'll come to that shortly. Said, so the whole concept is examine yourself. You are running this race, just like our logo is showing. It's a race, all right, to success. It's a race, it's a journey, and you should run. And notice also that if you are running, the more reason that you should examine yourself, because you are not walking. If you are walking, as it were, all right, it's easy to quickly turn back. All right, but if you are running, it's very easy to pass certain key turning points. So if you are running, you must make it part of your agenda, part of the way you run your race, to have times when you stop to examine yourself. What is the purpose for examining yourself? Am I on course? Am I still doing the right thing? Do I still have that chance, a good chance of succeeding? Examine yourself. A powerful counsel. A powerful counsel. Examine yourself. There is cost associated with pursuit of success. You don't want to put in so much only to discover that you wasted so much. To avoid it, examine yourself. Examine yourself if you are still in the race. All right, Paul was saying it in the context of, the Christian faith, but it's relevant to every aspect of life. He said, examine yourselves to see if you are still in the race, if you are still in the faith, if your faith is genuine. I like the interpretation that talks about genuineness. That is, if your pursuit of success is still genuine, that is something you can really rely on to get you to the success that you desire. Because you may have derailed. And if you have derailed without knowing, you are fooling yourself. Every other thing you are doing, you are fooling yourself. You are running a fake race to success, and you won't get there. And you will waste a lot of time and a lot of resources. What is the antidote? Examine yourself from time to time. Because the earlier you discover that you missed it somewhere, the earlier you can go back and fix it and get back on track. You really are looking for someone who is interested in succeeding. This has to be a cornerstone of his approach to that journey, to that race. You must have times where you sit back and look at what you are doing, how you are doing it, what results you are getting, what things are looking like. Are you still on course? I repeat, this is one of the most important counsels that a leader can give you. To ask you to take a look in the mirror. What do you see? Examine yourself. One of the very profound implications of this counsel, and I think a lot of us needs to really embrace it, is brutal, but is the truth, is a brutal truth, is that you, the one you see in the mirror, more than any other thing or any other person, is really responsible when you fail. Is really responsible whether you succeed or not. He said, look inwards. Why? You are the one taking the steps. You are the one who will make your way prosperous, according to Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8. He said, meditate on these things, give yourself wholly to them. All right. It said that you may observe to do all that is written in it. Who is going to? He says, so that you would have goods, you would prosper and have good success. It's in your hands. It's in my hands. So when we are told, examine yourself, it points us back to us. He's saying to us, take responsibility. Stop looking for who to blame. If you fail, it's you. If you succeed, it's you as well. Examine yourself. Is yourself, nobody else. You are the one running the race. You are the one who wants to succeed. If you do, it's for your benefit. You are the one in charge, really. Examine yourself. I came to this consciousness recently, and this counsel really hit me. And I couldn't but, bring it up to share, because I'm sold out to it. I believe completely in it. Examine yourself. Are you still in the race, or you are fooling around? Are you still on course, or you have since missed the way? Are you just dissipating energy and wasting away your resources because you have missed the way and you don't even know? And you can't know as quickly as you should if you don't examine yourself. If you don't examine yourself. In fact, it then goes further to say, test yourself. Let me, before I speak to the issue of testing, let me speak about the fact that he said, examine yourself if you are still in the faith. For you, all right, who knows that the race you are running, if you are a child of God, the race to success is being run according to the will of God. It's being run the way of God, the way that God prescribes. And there are God's principles for achieving success. There is God's concept of success, which is not the same as what everybody runs around with today, by the way. And you can check, one of the very first videos I did to lay that foundation, talking about what is success. You will see the video there. I spent a lot of time dealing with it, because if the channel is going to be about success, then let's deal with some of those things very early. I dealt with that very early. Please check it. I dealt also with what is failure, so that we know what success is and we know what failure is. And part of the reason is so that you also know how to benefit from what we're teaching, and you don't quote us or take us out of context. Okay? And it's to serve as our own guide so that we remain on course as well. Okay, so it says, examine yourself if you are still in the faith. The issue, as you know, that with God, everything you do in this kingdom has to be done by faith. Hebrews 10 and verse 38. The just shall live by his faith. And if he does not, I will not have any pleasure in him. You want God to have the pleasure in what you are in what you are running to achieve. And in any case, whatever you achieve in the kingdom has to be by faith. Has to be by faith. Paul said, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. That man is telling you and I, examine yourself. Are you still in the faith? So one of the things I want you to take away as part of how you examine yourself is to ask yourself, are you still running this race by faith? The race to success has to be done by faith. If you are doing it God's way, every interaction with God has to be by faith. That scripture is very clear. It's very clear. And Hebrews 11 and verse 6 tells you, he said, if you come to God, you must believe that he is, and he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Now, the diligently seeking him is running the race according to his prescription. Paul is saying, if you are running that race from time to time, examine yourself to ensure that you are still on course with the way that God prescribed to run that race. And if I might say it right here, the mindset, are you running with the right mindset? Are you running the race with the right mindset? Are you following the process with the right mindset? That's faith. That is by faith. You must run the race by faith. If you are not running the race by faith, you have since derailed. All right? You have shifted from a supernatural frequency, which is the frequency of faith, to a natural frequency where you are depending absolutely on what you are able to accomplish. If that's how you are running, you have missed it. Whatever you get is your own result. And the chances are it's not likely to be the result that God intended. Your guess is as good as mine, that certainly will be failure, not success. Okay? So I thought to deal with that very quickly. Now, let's come back to the issue of test yourself. You see, test yourselves. So as part of examining yourself, you are supposed to test yourself. Test yourself in what way? How do I test myself? How do I ensure that I'm still, on the right course? He said, test yourselves. But look at the statement he then made. He said, surely you know that Jesus Christ is among you, or if you like, is in you. That if he's not in you, if you don't know that he's in you, then you have failed the test of genuine faith. Let me make that very simple. What he's saying to you is that check yourself and ask, are you exhibiting the character attributes of Christ in your pursuit? Are you exhibiting the fruit of the Spirit in your pursuit? I will help you with some of them. Are you running a disciplined race? Are you running with kindness in mind? Are you running with a heart of humility? Are you faithful and diligent, all right, in this race? Are you joyful as you run this race? Yes, there's something you want, but are you running this race with patience? Are you running this race with peace of mind? Are you running this race with love in your heart? That is, you are not just doing whatever it is that you like. You are mindful of the people that you interact with in the course of you trying to achieve your own objectives. Test yourself. Do you still have the character of Christ as you are running this race? Because that is what determines the things you do and the things you stay away from, including the faith, running in faith that I've just talked about. Because faith or faithfulness is one of the character attributes of Christ, is one of the things that shows that Christ is in you. Paul said, don't you know that Christ is in you? In case you can't say affirmatively that Christ is in you, then you have failed the test. And if you have failed the test, it means you have derailed in your race. And then that counsel will have served you well, because in examining yourself, you discover that you have missed your way. You have missed your way. When you go to, Revelation 2 and 3, and you look at when Jesus was assessing the churches, the very first church, He said, you are doing great. I have no problem with you. Except one. He said, you have departed from your first love. Return. And that church had been running a race they had missed, derailed long time. They didn't know. They departed from their first love. They departed from their first love. They had other things, but the very essential thing, they departed. Their love for Christ was missing. They were doing a lot of activity. That's the benefit of this counsel that Paul has given. That's the benefit. So you ask, how do you test yourself? Because when when you are told, examine yourself, if you're still in the race, if you're still in the faith, test yourselves. That's the key component of how to examine yourself. And that test is, are you running with the right characteristics or with the right character attributes? You see now that character matters to everything. And one of those character attributes is faith. So are you still in the faith? Check the character attributes. But it doesn't end there. There are others. Are you running with the right character? And there are 9 of them. They are expressed as the fruit of the Spirit. So how do you conduct that test? Check each one of them. Are they present in your approach to your race? If they are, you are doing good. You are on track to success. If they are not, take note of them and work to address them. And you'll be on track to success as well. Examine yourself. That's what we're sharing today. So that you are not just running a race for fun. You are not running a fake race. You are on course. And so that you have every reason to expect that you arrive at your desired goal of success. That's it from me today on Licensed to Succeed. I want to thank you for joining me, and I want to invite you to join the Licensed to Succeed community. You see the link, scrolling beneath. I look forward to receiving you into that community. It's a free community. You will see more of these videos, and you see other things, including challenges, all of which are geared towards helping you in your pursuit of success, to ensure that you define success as God, in line with God's definition, and you pursue success God's way. That's what we stand for. That's what we share and promote. That's what you can depend on us for through this channel. And share this with your friends, with your loved ones, with colleagues, whoever you believe can benefit from it. Be your brother's keeper. Let's express love to each other. And we look forward to sharing more with you. I'll be back by the grace of God on Friday, and then I'll be speaking to something else that helps you on this journey, all right, that licenses you effectively to run the race to success. God bless you. My name remains Olatunji Shobodu, founder, CEO, Emmet Leadership Academy, that brings this channel, all right, to you. Once again, thank you for joining me again today, and God bless and keep you. Don't forget, we've been speaking on that subject. Examine yourself. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye-bye.